Welcome. Here we can see the settings, same as normal, only this time I've just turned SSAA off, and the other settings are exactly the same as all my other comparator videos, in order that this time round we can maintain above 120 frames per second with VSync on. Is there a difference? On the left we can see the 120 Hertz, 120 frames per second, VSync on, and on the right 60. Well, let me tell you straight away. In the sim, without it being recorded, you can notice a difference at 120 frames per second, 120 Hertz, i.e. with VSync on. Absolutely you can, and it is better than 60. But 60 is more than good enough, and of course if you're making videos there is absolutely no point in having your frame rate at 120 frames per second and VSync on, even though that's giving you the smoothest, and we've proven that time and time again with a video up in the top right. Yeah, so we've proven VSync on is the way to go. It's a free world, in my view, that is. But we can see in this video that there is some stuttering on the left with the manifested video on 120 frames per second, and that is simply because I'm only recording at 60 frames per second, and there is always a slight fluctuation within 1 millisecond. And that will manifest itself in the video as micro stutters. So it doesn't actually look that good. Someone recently sent me an email from my Heli Shed YouTube channel and said that they were running at 120 Hertz and that their recordings always looked crap. Well, this is why. It is because you're recording at 60 frames per second, although that's a derivative, i.e. double of the recording. It's not always going to be exactly 2 frames per second per hertz that's being recorded. So whilst for you on your PC it looks absolutely fantastic, on the recording not so. And whilst both of them look okay now, you've probably seen up until this point, and indeed beyond it, where there will be some micro stutters and judders, and that's not as a result of the accurate depiction on what you're seeing on your screen. That's just as a result of the recording software, whether you're using Shadow Play or OBS Studio or a screen capture or Cam Fusion, or it doesn't matter. You're only going to record at 60 frames per second on the majority of software that is freely and commercially available. So if you're putting videos together for DCS World and DCS World Community, then my advice is to drop it down to 60 Hertz and VSync and record at 60 frames per second. And that way, whatever it is that you present to the tube of you know that it's going to be, or it's going to be looking the very best that you want it to look. You've also got to remember that YouTube will compress the video even further. That itself will make micro arrangements to the frame rate, even though it says 1080 at 60. Guarantee you it'll mess it around at some point. So yeah, so there you go. So that was 60 on the right, 120 on the left. Look at the percentage used on the 4080 at 120. It's at 85%, 87%, and that is what I've also referred to in previous videos. When you're testing your system out, test it out with your settings with VSync off, and you pretty much want to make sure that you can always be above the frame rate, above the refresh rate, of your monitor. And if that is the case, try and work it out to be around about 85%, something like that. And if you hit that, that's the magic button, that's the magic marker. Smash that button and stick VSync on, and your flight will be fantastic, whether that's 60 or 120. as ever, hope that was useful. Till next time, bye bye.